Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Roshida Dowe, and I am here with you to talk about 10 things you must consider before moving to another country. And yes, I did just have to look up in the corner on StreamYard because I did not remember what I was talking about. It's been a day, y'all. I woke up a little bit of nausea. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. I think it might be the baby. But for now, I'm drinking electrolyte to try to add back some electrolytes into my system. I feel kind of ugh. Hi, hope y'all are doing better. Let's see who's here in the audience. If you're watching this on the replay, hi, my love. Thank you for joining us. I have a list, which is going to make it a little bit easier today. I'm not just freestyling. But yes, I feel not awesome. This is why she's my business bestie. She says nice things. Notice how all y'all ignored it's the baby, but here come my mama. Talk about finally grandchild. Ooh, Adelia says it's the heat. When I tell y'all, it's part of the reason for this list is the heat. It's getting close to 90 degrees every day, last week and this week, and we are not. I live in Mexico City. If you're watching me for the first time, hey. And people are like, "Oh yeah, it's Mexico. Of course it's that hot." No, not up here. We deal with a lot of BS, but not this kind of heat. This kind of heat is not what we do. It's not what we signed up for. Because we're in a city where most places, like, it's very rare for a home, any kind of accommodation, to have air conditioning. You'll find heat in hotels. I'm not sure you're gonna find air conditioning in all hotels because, like, it's gonna be hot like this for 2 weeks and then it's gonna cool off, right? Okay, cool, right? But during these 2 weeks, it's like hell. It's like hell. I'm on a very high floor. I have them open now, but I have to keep my blackout shades closed all day long. I am in a cave all day long. All day. Because if I don't keep them closed, I've told you guys this before, my windows are exactly west facing. They're like on to the degree. They are exactly west facing. And so when that afternoon sun hits, even I moved here in December. And when I moved in December, before I had blackout curtains in the living room became like a hot box. And so I got blackout curtains. And now I have to keep them closed all the time. So yes, Abba saying no, yes. It's gonna be, I think, like 88 today or some nonsense. Well, our taxis, they don't use no. They're not using any air conditioning. The Ubers, if the Ubers are like, we're gonna keep that window down, we're gonna ride with the window down. And I tell you guys, it's literally like every year there's a week or two. It's like this. When I first moved here in 2020, that week was in January. That week was in January, where it was like, my God, this is hot. June, we don't normally do this because it's normally rainy season, but it hasn't rained. And so in the expat groups, people who are not used to being uncomfortable in their homes are in there crying about, where can I get an air conditioner? Where can I get an air conditioner? Where can I get an air conditioner? A real air conditioner? I don't know. There's something called an air cooler, but a lot of people are buying. I don't know the difference from an air conditioner. Jay, I know you're coming here. If you're coming here this weekend, or you're coming here next weekend. Next weekend it'll be a little bit cooler. But if you're here this week, I don't know when you're here. I don't know when Pride is down here. But if it's this weekend, it's gonna be hot, baby. It's hot. It's not humid. I know Roxanne is saying that she's in Panama and it's hot and humid. It's not humid. It's a dry heat. But being in a place where you're like, oh, like I see that Janae is saying it's 100 degrees for a week straight. Y'all have air conditioners. Y'all can sit in the house. Like, you don't understand what I'm saying. Like, if I go outside to a coffee shop, to a store, get on a bus, get in a vehicle, there is no air conditioning. It's just hot. There's no relief from the heat. No relief anywhere from it. Some places, like if I could go to Palacio right now. I know Palacio has air conditioning. Because, right, like they have an Hermes store. If you have an Hermes store, you have air conditioning. Because people aren't buying in the heat. But there's a craft market that I like to go to. And they in that building has air conditioning. They won't turn it on. And so I went there before when it was like 75 degrees. And because of all the humans inside, it was like sweltering, literally like sweat dripping down your face. I was going to go today and then I was like, no. At almost 90 degrees, it's going to be miserable. I won't be doing that. I'm not going to see my candle lady today because... So these are the choices you make when you live in a... 10 things to consider. These are the choices you make when you live in a place that isn't built for the weather that occasionally comes in. It's only 2 weeks, right? So it won't be that bad. But we're supposed to be in rainy season, and it's only rained one time since I've been back. Oh, another heat wave is expected next week. Child, I saw 78, and I was like, praises for next week. But maybe it comes at the end of next week. I don't know. Yes, Alicia says she'll be in the apartment and taking siestas. Yes. But I can't nap. I think part of the reason I'm not feeling good is that I haven't been able to sleep at all. Like I can sleep for maybe a couple hours here, a couple hours there, because it's just too hot. I'm on a high floor. Y'all know heat rises. The fan is fanning, but like it's not working. It's not working. Okay, so let's see. Let's get to the list. Okay, so Stephanie, low on my list. It's not the right list. The right list is over here. Low on my list, number 8 on my list. We're gonna start there because we're talking about it. If you're watching this channel, hi. If you're new here, hi. My name is Roshida Dowe, and I talk about apparently randomness. I don't know. Talk about life in Mexico City, career breaks, moving abroad, things you need to consider before you move abroad, which is what we're doing today. Number 8 on my list were local customs, and then this morning I added / local infrastructure. So when I talk about local customs, one of the first things that always comes to mind is, what does the local community have? What do locals have that you might not have? Because local customs are typically built around what locals have access to, right? So in Mexico, generally, in Mexico City specifically, one of those things is community. Community is really big here. So things like, I always use this one example. I want you guys to use it again today. Public hospitals. You go to a public hospital, they expect you to bring your own sheets, and they expect someone to bring your food for you every day. If you have a family, especially a large family, then someone can bring you food, right? Grandma can make food, and your little cousin can bring you the food. If you don't, how are you going to eat? I'm going to eat by going to a private hospital, right? Like, let's be real about me and what I'm gonna do, right? What I'm gonna do is go to a private hospital because I don't want to rely on somebody else bringing me food every day. Same thing in the jails. If you happen to get arrested, somebody got to come bring you food. Who's gonna bring you food every day, right? The public hospital system, people talk about, oh, it's not that bad, it's not that bad. It's not that bad if you can eat, and you can eat if someone brings you, in your family or your community brings you food. If you don't have that community to bring you food, it's probably terrible. And sheets, it's probably terrible. What? I need food. Another part of the local customs is that most delivery people, most handy people, most everything expect that there is a woman waiting at home all day who's going to be at home all day who can answer the door, right? So if they say they're going to be there at 9, maybe they're there at 1. What does it matter? You was going to be home, like someone's in the house all day, and it's most likely the wife because you ain't working. Yes, I could be home all day most days. I could be home all day most likely. But this expectation that you can show up whatever time you want because somebody's going to be there waiting for you is what? Wild. It's wild. I ordered a Home Depot delivery once. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bags of soil in my eyesight right now. I need to do something with those. Those are the ones that I haven't already opened and started using. These should be unopened 10 bags of soil. Anyhow, me and Home Depot, we go together real bad. Roxanne says, somebody home. Somebody's home. So Home Depot shows up later. They said they were going to be there at 2. And then they showed up at like 9, which is past the delivery window for where I live. You can't get in at 9 o'clock with deliveries. They're like, nah, I'm sorry. Okay. So they were like, you need to come get it from the street. And I was like, you can leave this on the street if you want to, but I'm not about to sign that I'm not going to accept delivery on the street. So take it back, right? Like, what do I do with and these are big bags of soil. And I think they had some other things. They had a bunch of stuff for me on that load. Big delivery. And like, we're just gonna leave it here then. And I was like, you're absolutely not going to do that. Okay. Because what I'm gonna do with all this? Okay. So I emailed the Home Depot customer service. I'm like, people showed up late. So are we going to, what? I was like, people that showed up late and they couldn't deliver it to give me a refund. And they were like, no, we're going to deliver it tomorrow. I get on a plane tomorrow morning and I go somewhere else. So you can't just tell me when you're going to deliver stuff, right? But like the idea that like someone is always home and available is just how things are. And you have to learn to deal with that. That's one of the local customs here. Have you moved abroad? Tell me what your local customs are. Like the local expectations that are like, if I was local, I may not have noticed this, but because I don't always fit into what's expected in the community, I noticed. Like, what are the things for you? Roxanne, I know you got something in Panama. Tell me. Somebody home, right? I'm just like, no, you can't just, if you didn't deliver on the day we selected. I selected a date on the website, you agree to it by saying yes, right? You can't just come whatever day you want and deliver the stuff. Like, doesn't make any sense. If you said you were going to be there, you called me at 2 and said, we're coming to you right now. Why you ain't show up till after 9? What's happening? Yes. So folks don't typically live solo here. And so if you're a solo liver, if you're in a solo living situation, things just don't always work the way they're supposed to. Delia's plumber was like, I'm going to show up. I think she said 9. I think the plumber said 9 and then never showed it off. Woo. Yeah. That's Customary in the UK, paying for rounds. There's something about the construction here. I'm trying not to complain, but I don't hear any sounds in my apartment unless folks are in the hallway. And then I hear everything. They could be whispering, and it's like deep in my skull. I don't know what it is about the way they built. Junket, where are you? Most stores tend to be closed on Sunday or closed early on Sunday. Here, most places are closed on Monday. Most restaurants, if it's Monday, stay home. Don't do nothing. All right. So the other part of that is the local infrastructure. You have to know if the local infrastructure is going to meet your personal requirements, right? So like I said, I'm super hot. It's 2 weeks, maybe 3, maybe 3. I am not going outside. After I came back from San Miguel, I should not have gone to San Miguel this week because it was too hot. Last week, I don't know when I went. Last week, I honestly could not tell you. If it was this week. I came back on Wednesday. I came back on Wednesday this week, yes. My days in San Miguel were miserable. It was too hot. It was hitting 100. It was hot. It was ridiculous. It was high 90s. And when you go on vacation somewhere, you want to be outside. But it's got the same infrastructure we have here. There's no air conditioning. We're walking everywhere. Anyway, miserable, but okay. Here, yes, there's no air conditioning, but it doesn't typically get this hot, and so I can live with it. But if I had a medical condition that made heat like a physical problem, or if I really just couldn't take the heat, I would reconsider living anywhere that didn't have air conditioning, right? So it's not necessarily that Mexico's outside of the beach towns is going to be hot always, but with global warming, yes, it is. It's just that if it does happen, if I can't take being hot or cold, because we don't have heating or air, buy a space heater and hope it doesn't malfunction and buy a fan, right? We don't have heating or air. So if the cold was really, really bad for me physically, or the heat was, I would not live somewhere if it did not have air conditioning. I wouldn't live somewhere if it didn't have. I don't like space heaters. As you guys know, you've seen that a few people have had space heater malfunctions that have led to carbon monoxide poisonings. So I'm not the biggest fan. But it gets cold. It gets cold here, and it gets hot here. Right. So Auntie Lou says, I can't do heat or humidity. My perimenopause says no. Yes. No. If you can't do it, I wouldn't go somewhere that doesn't have air conditioning, because you don't know it's not supposed to be this hot in June. We're supposed to be in the middle of rainy season where it rains every day and cools off, but it's not raining. I don't know what's going on. I feel like the orcas are warning us. They're attacking those boats and warning us. This is it. Y'all need to get right, or it's the end times. And we're not listening because oil and gas run the world. But yeah, I just not having heating or cooling. If it is physically, you need to consider that. Physically, can you live in a place if it doesn't have air conditioning and it's going to hit 100 degrees, right? If it hit 100 degrees here, I think I'd be like, it's time for me to move, because even at night, just under 90, I'm like, it's ridiculous. Oh, child. Savitri's considering moving to Malaysia, but I'm concerned about the humidity there compared to Florida. The humidity in Malaysia was I stepped outside and everything was wet. Every part of my body, I mean every part, was wet. I have never been that uncomfortable in my life as in Kuala Lumpur. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Like what? I couldn't do it, girl. I don't know. If you want to do it, you can do it. But I wouldn't do it. I literally was like, what? And other than that, it's so like pretty. It's awesome. But it's really one of those wait until it gets dark to go outside towns, countries. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I saw a video today of men throwing all the furniture from their cruise ship into the ocean. And I was like, what was the reason? What? Why would you? How does it make sense to throw furniture? It was desks, it was a table, a chair, a beer can, even like a love seat kind of thing, just into the ocean. No, actually, they weren't sinking. They were laughing. It was just funny to them. It was literally just a joke to them. And I'm like, there's not a table where them fish want to be, right? And now there's no furniture in your cabin. And maybe they got in someone else's cabin and, they weren't comfortable with the bill. But they recorded themselves doing this and put it on the internet. I was like the same. And just laughing. So I assumed they were drunk because like everybody's just cackling about it. And I was like, why would you? It's clearly the middle of the day. It's the middle of the day and they are throwing furniture into the ocean. We ain't shooting off enough pinky toes. Like boop. We need more like you got to shoot off their pinky. Like that is the only answer to me. Like mild balance, right? It's a little. You'll be all right, but you're never gonna walk the same, right? Like that's truly the only answer for some of these people. Because why would you do that? Okay, so before you move abroad, number 8 on the list, we went right to number 8. Was what are local customs, and how do you bridge the gap, right? So when I have a service provider coming, I make it very clear, like you're coming at this time, you're going to be here at this time. Like we go over it multiple times. That's no guarantee, right? That's no guarantee. But I also make sure that I can bridge the gap by being home all day. If I had to go to work, nothing would ever get done. If I had to leave the house, nothing would ever get done. Because what? Child, I told y'all guys last week or the week before, last week maybe, that when it rains, it hasn't been raining a lot, but when it does rain, water's coming in through the ceiling in my guest bedroom. I made an appointment for someone to come fix it. They did not come at the appointed time. So I had to write an email like, hi, there's water coming in from the ceiling and y'all not even coming to look at it. You looked at it 2 months ago and didn't fix it. But I was gone, so I didn't pay any attention to it. And now, when you're supposed to look at it again, I don't know why you're looking at it again. Because What could have changed besides more damage? And you need to fix it outside, not inside. Okay, so I'm writing email. The man shows up like within 5 minutes of me writing the email. He's there. Shows up. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, when y'all gonna fix it? He was like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. The office will tell you. Okay. I wait a week. I don't hear from the office. I write an email. Like, when is y'all gonna fix this? Because if water is coming in, there's going to be mold. I don't know if it's going to be mold or not because it dry. It's been real hot. It's real dry. It's drying out real good. But we're gonna talk about this, right? Like, I need some urgency on your part. They respond like, yeah, we don't know. We'll get back to you. It's raining inside my apartment, and the most y'all can give me is, we don't know. We'll get back to you. When you were supposed to fix it 2 months ago. Because I brought it to your attention then. So Roxanne says, do you find yourself shocked when they are on time? Yes. When people are on time, I'm like, okay. All right. You found it. But yeah, it happens. It does happen. Some people are very like, I am a timely person. Some people are like, my day, your day, there's no urgency at all. Which, like I said, if there's someone in the home, and for a lot of people who are calling in service providers, there is someone at home, usually a woman. There's a nanny, and there's a maid, full time, right? A lot of the people here have multiple people who will be here all day. So what does it matter what time they come? But now I can't leave the house for snacks because you were supposed to be here 6 hours ago and you're not here yet. But yeah, when the first guy showed up on time to look at the thing, I was like, okay, which is why I expected him to be here on time the second time. Same guy. The same guy came the second time and was like, yeah, it's a problem. I'm like, you said it was a problem the first time 2 months ago. So I think another custom is like, what is the speed with which things get done? Something I'm seeing in a lot of the expat groups is people are acting, landlords are very much giving the vibe of anything that happens in your apartment while you live there is for you to fix. And me and my landlord were not there. Thank God. Someone was saying in one of the groups, one of the Facebook groups, that a bird flew into her window and broke the window. And her landlord's like, oh, go fix the window then. And she's like, a bird flew into the window and broke the window. Why do I have? And landlord's like, well, you live there, so you got to fix it. And I'm like, if she threw a ball, right, from the outside, because you can tell which way a window breaks most of the time. If a bird threw a ball, like if she threw a ball inside and the window broke, I could see her fixing it. But a bird flew into it from outside and you expect her to fix it? Y'all wild. Local customs, local traditions. You should not expect that you're going to come somewhere and change them. You should figure out if you can fill the gap, right? So what we're talking about here is, how can we fill the gap? I can fill the gap with delivery people by not needing to leave the house. I can be at home and I fill the gap by not scheduling anything else whenever I have a delivery person or a maintenance person coming. Nothing else I try to schedule them early in the day, and nothing else is scheduled for the day. I'm not leaving the house for the whole day. After they leave, then I can have some impromptu plans. But while they're, I'll be here because y'all expect someone to be here all day. I'll be the person that's here all day. Okay. Another way I fill the gap is I know if I ever end up in the hospital, I know which private hospital I'm going to. I know where it is, because you can't take me to a public hospital because I need to eat. Right? So like, if there are gaps, if there are things that the locals have that you don't have, one of the things here might be a large community. How can you fill the gap? I have to fill the gap with money. I cannot go to a public hospital. I have to go to a private hospital because I like food. And I don't expect I don't expect to have someone who's not family bringing me food every day. Right. So Victor says, do you think the repairman expected money outside of what he's normally paid? No. 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 I could not have paid him to get it done faster. He seems super legit. He's good. It's just there's bureaucracy with the building. And I think the building is like, when it floods, we'll do something. Right? Because they have to, it's a condo building, so they have to get certain things approved. And when I talked to them in March, it was like, we have to talk about what the cost is going to be and get that approved and blah, blah, blah. And I think, and the person who was walking it through the process left the company. And I think they were just like, oh, everything she was doing just got put on hold. It's not like it was a fix he could do. If it was, I would have been like, get on your ladder. Let's see what we can do. They need to climb outside. And I've told you guys before, I'm in the 20s. And they need to fix something outside. So they got to get a little jingle jangle machine and come down from the roof and fix it. And what they really need to fix is in my upstairs neighbor's apartment. They got to do a little jingly jangling on the outside of their apartment because the water's coming in from them, from the outside. Because I think they didn't seal properly. And I don't know if the water is coming into their apartment at all, or if it's all going directly into my apartment, like going down. When it comes in, it goes directly down to my apartment. It doesn't go into theirs. I don't know. But yeah, no, I couldn't have paid him to do that. Because they got to get on the roof and jingle jangle down, right? Like, it wasn't money. It was literally, this is a substantive fix to the building. And we can't just be doing that. We can't just be doing that. All right. Let's go to the top of the list. I think I need a calculator for this one. All right. Let's talk about stability of a local currency. And I'm not going to make this video all about me or all about Mexico City. But we got to talk, y'all. Because your friends here are not doing well. We're not doing well. We are not doing well. Well, okay, so for years, before I moved here, when I visited, the Mexican peso was always 20 pesos to $1. We're now down to like, I paid for something this week and it was 16 pesos for $1. Which means even without prices rising for inflation, prices are going up. If you earn US dollars and pay for things in pesos, things are more expensive. This is one time when I might agree with Stephanie about money not being real, because it's absolutely insane. Okay, so if your rent is $10,000, it's probably not. But if your rent was $10,000 a year ago, you paid $500. If it was 10,000 pesos, you paid $500. My currency calculator has it at 17.08 today. This week, PayPal charged me like 16.5 or something. So something that was supposed to be $25 was $31. So a year ago, if you paid 10,000 pesos, your rent was $500, equivalent of. Now, that same $500 rent is $585. So my rent has gone up. My rent has gone up hundreds of dollars, even without a rent increase. Even before. No, I had a rent increase because my landlord was like, everything costs more, inflation, you must pay more. And I'm like, I sent her the list of like, 'cause I pay her online, of like what I have paid her and what it has amounted to in dollars over time. And I'm like, I'm already paying you hundreds of dollars more. She's getting the same amount, right? I'm paying you hundreds of dollars more than when I first moved in. And she was like, that's nice. But the rent's going up. Okay. Like, all right. So the dollar just isn't as strong here in Mexico as it used to be. And that's something you have to consider. We talked about this a little bit last week when we talked about debt and that man outside Starbucks who touched me. But if you move to a country that or a city that pushes you to the edge of your budget, right? If you're already teetering on the edge of your budget, if the currency in that country gets stronger or the currency in your home country gets weaker, you might don't make it, right? Like if you're already at the edge of your budget, you have to have some cushion. You have to have some cushion as you move abroad because currencies change. They fluctuate. I'm not thrilled. I'm not trying to scare you, Renaissance of Consciousness. I'm just saying, have some room in your budget. Wherever you go, wherever you're spending, don't hit, like, if you're like, yes, I have $1,000 for rent, and this place is $1,000 or the equivalent of $1,000. $1,000 in September might not be the same $1,000 in December, is all I'm saying, right? Like, unless you're making pesos and you're spending pesos, or you're making rand and you're spending rand, if you're making a currency outside of a local currency, you need to pay attention to the currency fluctuations because it's not good. Yeah. So the only way I could pay for the thing I wanted to pay for was PayPal. They were like 16 point, I think it was like 3.5 or something. Whatever it was, like I said, it was ridiculous and I didn't like it. Why would you do that? It was 16 point something. Whew. Auntie Lou said I had to readjust my rent budget for Mexico twice already, so I won't be caught out there. Yes, you need to make sure you're not topping out at the top of your budget because currencies change. Like, and I say this as someone who has, I'm in a country where the US, or dollar to peso exchange rate was stable for like years, 8 years, maybe more. It's been 20 to 1 for so long. No changes. No changes. Like, a little boop, 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 but every time you hit the streets, 20, like the quick math gave you 20 to 1 and gone. 17, 16? I don't even do the math anymore. Now I'm just like, it costs what it costs. It costs what it costs. I don't know. But every time I look at it, I'm like, why would it cost so much? So what's the stability of the currencies? Are you at the top of your budget? How do you give yourself some leeway that what you can pay today and what you are paying today may not be what you're paying for tomorrow? And because we're talking specifically about rent, but everything's more expensive. An Uber ride is more expensive. A food is more, everything I pay for is more expensive. So my entire budget has to increase, right? I'm getting significantly less for the same amount of money because everything I pay for is more expensive. So Lily says 17 to 1 is a new math, and I just have to block that out. I don't accept it. Like, I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying delusions. I would like to stay over here, real delulu. That's what I like. All right. Related to that, what is the current popularity of a location you're going to? Now, we can't control this, right? When I moved to Mexico City, people were like, why Mexico? Who would move to Mexico? You You're going to die. Cartel this, cartel that, Mexico City. And then the pandemic happened and remote work happened, and everyone knows about Mexico City now, and everyone comes, which means that the prices, even without the difference in the currency, the prices are going up because there's more demand than before. This is not something you can control, right? You can't control the popularity of a city. Without the pandemic, I think Mexico City would be very different than it is today. And who saw the pandemic coming? I mean, probably some scientists, but not me. So you can't control the popularity or lack thereof in a city, but you can be mindful that this is something that might impact you in the future, right? It might impact you. Pricing and everything, right? Like whenever foreigners move in large numbers, some locals are not going to be happy. Let America be your example for that, right? And so, okay, we move. What's funny is that I hear about gentrification every day. People are like, blah, 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 gentrifiers, everyone's moving in to these neighborhoods, blah, 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 blah. One of the neighborhoods that's always brought up is Polanco. And I was there the other day. I was getting a pedicure, and they had like a frequent customer card. So I was like, ooh, let me get one of these. And she was like, now, when I came to make the appointment, I spoke in Spanish, nothing else. The second day, she spoke to me in English, nothing else. So she knows, right? Like, I'm an English speaker. Oh, I think I'd been on the phone. I was talking to Stephanie on the phone. We were doing work, y'all, in the pedicure chair. Work I'm very excited about. I'm talking to Stephanie on the phone, so she hears me speaking in English. And so I go to pay. I give her the frequent customer card, and she was like, "You live here?" And I'm like, maybe this place ain't gentrifying at the speed that everybody says it is, because you are absolutely shocked that I could be living here. And maybe it's because I'm Black. Maybe, and you don't see a lot of Black people, maybe. But like, she didn't even attempt to hide the shock. You live here? It was, I was like, and there wasn't it was just like pure shock. It was like, what? Yes, girl. That's why I want a frequent customer card. I do. For years. In this neighborhood-ish. For years. She was like, oh, okay. Like, what is y'all? Why are y'all not? So even though people complain about gentrification all the time, it's always a specific subset of people who are complaining about gentrification. Here, that's a conversation for another day. Apparently, it ain't hitting the way folks are saying it's hitting. Because this lady was absolutely shocked. She just knew I was on vacation. Shocked that I lived here. And I was like, yeah, I do. I live here. Years now. Anyway, so the popularity of a location is something to keep in mind because it's going to impact you in certain ways. Whatever ways, unknown. If it gets less popular, I don't know. Less things to do? I don't know. But no. Roxanne says you live your shock, and I get you're not from your shock. Yeah. Because let's be real, as a Black person, the way you're treated frequently has to do with how many Black people there are that are, I want to say indigenous, but also like, I don't think that's the right description for the whole world, right? The amount of people that are frequently seen in the country, amount of Black people that are frequently seen in the country, I'll say. Like, I have a video about racism in Mexico in which I say, yes, there's racism here, but not like it is in the US. And there's racism everywhere. So like, let's be real. And people all the time show up saying, no, there's no racism. It's never Afro-Mexicans, though, that show up saying that. And they show up saying two things that I think are really interesting. We love our Black brothers and sisters, and they're just like us, and there's no difference, and so we don't treat them every different. Or, so there's no racism. The other version of no racism is, I got me every day, was most Mexicans have never seen a Black person in their life, so they can't be racist. First of all, even if that was true, it's not true. Even if that was true, they've never seen a Black person in their life, they could still be racist. You learn some things along the way. Anti-Blackness is one of them, right? The other thing is, I feel like a good education about the slave trade would tell you that Black people been here, been in Mexico. So if most Mexicans have never seen a Black person, they don't really know what a Black person looks like. Or they're denying the Blackness of the people they see. Most Mexicans have never seen a Black person in their life, so they can't be racist. Y'all just say, like, segue. Y'all know I love a little tangent sometimes. What are you talking about? How could you write that with a straight face? Most Mexicans have never seen a Black person in their life. I feel like if we looked at an old-timey ship map, you'd see a thing or two. And that thing or two would show you some more things. No? No. You're denying the Blackness of the Black people in your country, and that in itself is what? Racist. Okay, let's move on, because y'all don't. Oh, okay, before moving abroad, number 3 on the list, community. So Steph talked about a bit about this yesterday, but what is the community you want? And what is the community you can build, right? Those two aren't always going to align. But what is the community you want to have? If you close your eyes and think of like your ideal community, it doesn't have to be in a specific location, but like write it. You know, I love this exercise. Close your eyes, think about what your ideal community is. Write it down. Maybe open your eyes before you write it down. I don't know. But like, work through it. What do you want to see? Who do you want to see? Who do you want to be with? Who do you want to spend time with? Who are they? What do they do? How do they greet you? How do they feel, right? Dig in deep on that. And then see whether that community exists where you want to go, or if you think there's a chance of helping foster that community. Is there a chance of you being the leader and fostering that community? There may not be, but there may be, right? I don't know. But what community already exists and what community do you want? And how close or far away are those? Can you get them closer? Carol said hit the like button. I didn't say that. Carol said that. So go on ahead and hit the like button, because Carol's right. You should do that. Can you have the community you want there? If you can't, is it the right place for you? If you have no interest in creating community, you just want to step into a ready-made community, does the ready-made community you want exist? If not, it may not be for you. So in Merida, there seems to be a flux of people coming in and out. And one of the things that I'm seeing a trend of is that people aren't, I think Merida was popular for a while for a number of reasons, one of which was it had a Black community, a vibrant Black community, a healthy Black community. But what I'm seeing now is people leaving because Black community wasn't enough, right? Like, I'm seeing single women with no kids being like, okay, but what are we supposed to, like, there's nothing to do, right? You're seeing different things where different subsections of the Black community are like, it's not serving my needs. It's not giving me what I want. Even the community itself isn't giving me what I want. And so sometimes people will say, I see people say, oh, there's a bunch of Black people there, so I'm definitely going to check it out. And while I know the value in being, I am never going to be one who downplays the value of being around people who look like you and who understand you in a fundamental sense, right? Like that. There is value in being around people who look like you. Don't ever let anyone else tell you otherwise. The people who tell you otherwise are typically in communities of people who look like them. The people who are like, why you need a Black student union are usually at a predominantly white institution that is like, 60% white. So they don't understand the value because they already have it inherently, right? So I'm never going to say there's not value in being in community with people who look like you, but is that enough? Or do you need to find a city with people who look like you, who also have some other characteristic that you find important and you want in your community, right? What is the community you can build? What is the community you want? If there's a gap, are you willing to work to fill the gap? Or is this just not the place for you, right? They have a whole post in the Merida group about why they're leaving. Why are some people leaving? And a lot of people are saying it just didn't. I thought it was going to be one thing and it's another thing. And a lot of that is about the community. Nothing wrong with that. But, something to consider. Okay. Number 4 on the list, mobility costs. What does it cost to travel from the place you're going to? Right? So I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. A woman was in Exeter Summit and saying that she didn't realize when she moved to Ghana that it would cost, she moved to Ghana to be her home base around the continent, and it cost too much to go from one country to another. It's never going to change. I mean, maybe one day it will, but it's been like that for as long as planes have been in flight. They have neglected Africa, right? So if you move to Ghana or any country, you move to Mozambique, you moved to Mexico City, wherever it is. If you move there with the idea that this is going to be a home base and you are going to travel far and wide, or you're going to travel home, a couple times a year, you need to look at what this mobility will cost you and add 25%, just because. I think that that's something that comes up a lot. People aren't thinking about the costs that are associated with, one, stepping outside, right? And two, going further than down the block, right? So if you are in Africa and want to fly to another African country, there's a good chance you're going to have to fly back through Europe or somewhere else, maybe the Middle East, to do that. Because that's where hubs are, right? There are very few hubs in Africa itself. especially for major airlines. And so it costs, right? Or you travel like a local would, probably on a bus that you may not enjoy. But moving to another location means doing things the way people who live there are going to do them. And one of those is traveling. It's going to cost a lot. Good luck. God bless. Oh, Tammy's saying Kenya to Tanzania, one way can cost about $100 direct. Good to know. Since I'm planning December through February somewhere in Africa. And by planning, I really just mean thinking about it. Y'all know I'm not planning anything yet because that's a tomorrow problem. It's not today. It's not today. All right, so what does it cost to get around? Look at the expenses, where you can go cheaply and where it's going to be expensive to get to. And keep that in mind before you make your move, because like I can get to the US reasonably inexpensive, like, not cheap, but I can get to Central America, good prices. I can get around Mexico, great prices. If I want to go to another continent from Mexico, they're going to run my pockets. They're going to run my pockets real good. Every time I go to another continent, I'm like, this could be $6. If I was coming from the US, this would be a family of 4. If I was just a little bit north, if I was coming from the US, this would be a family of 4. But because of flight routes and availability coming from Mexico, I don't have that luxury. Thanks. So yeah, things to consider. All right. Number 5 on the list. What is your comfort with language barriers? Are you comfortable being in a place where you don't understand every word? I'm the kind of person where I need to see everything. I don't need them for the screen. If I'm in the streets, I'm wearing my glasses. I don't care. Daytime, nighttime, all the time I'm wearing my glasses. Because I can see without them, but I can't see everything. I want to see everything. I don't need to hear everything, though. I don't. All right. Something happened this weekend. It reminded me that I ended up on a team with someone in law school. And I ended up on a team with someone. And she was like, "Oh, your headphones, girl." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" So she's like, "You're always wearing headphones." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." Because I don't want to hear y'all. I walk through the halls with my headphones in. Listening to some Manny Fresh beat. Somebody rapping over a Manny Fresh beat. So that I don't have to hear y'all. So I definitely don't have to hear y'all in a language that I'm not fully understanding. No. It's funny. When my mom and I were traveling, we were in Portugal or somewhere. Yes, it's a classic intro. I don't need to know this. My mom would be like, "Did you hear them talking?" And I'm like, "No, I absolutely did not." She's like, she said something to me about like how she's always listening to other people's conversations. And I'm like, "Oh, I always have my headphones. I am always blocking them out. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear your conversation in any language, including English. I don't want it." And so I am comfortable not understanding everything. I'm comfortable with the language barrier. I'm comfortable not understanding everything. I'm comfortable not hearing a word you said. I don't need to understand it. We go on between Translate app, between a money conversion app, and between my calculator so I can type in a price. We were in the souks in Morocco, like writing in numbers on the calculator. Where am I at? Just be like, and they'd be like, and they'd type in a number, and I'd be like, put in another number. All we're doing. I don't need to know everything. I don't need to I'm never going to understand every word spoken everywhere. And so I'm okay not understanding a bunch of them. I wish that for you too. But if you're not, don't go to a place where you don't understand the language or you don't think you can pick it up very, very quickly. I am okay being like, the words are flowing around me and they have nothing to do with me. I don't. Headphones. When she said, "Oh, your headphones, girl," I was like, "Girl, what are you talking?" Like, because I didn't realize it was a thing and that it was a thing that other people weren't doing as well. Because I'm not paying attention to you. I am walking through the hallways, blocking out your gibberish. I'd be in Mexico blocking out your gibberish, and that's not a language thing. That is just a sound. Other people making sounds thing. I'm comfortable not understanding. If you are not, make sure that you're working really, really hard, or you move to a country where the language barrier is easier. Like if I spoke Spanish, I'd probably be easier to move to France because Spanish and French, I feel like not all the time, but you get close, right? Italian too. Like you getting close. Getting Italian and Spanish, ooh, we're getting close, right? I don't. Your headphones, girl. What? I was like, what? My mom was like, "Oh no, I love listening to those conversations," and I was like, "Leave me out of that, please." Did you hear them talk? Oh yes, you could hear the noise from the truck that buys things. She's heard it because my door is open because it's hot. So I leave my sliding glass door open, and I close the curtains during the day, so I get a little bit of breeze in, but not the sunlight. Okay, so comfort with language barriers you should consider because I can do things I can do, right? I went to Pilates the other day and he asked me a question and I was like, this isn't part of the normal questions. What are you talking about? What are you asking me? But in yoga, because I know how to, like, I used to be a yoga teacher. I know yoga. There's no question I'm good. I got it. We're doing this. I got it. No matter what the language. Pilates, I was like, what are you asking? This isn't part of the typical. What are we talking about? Confusion. All right. Mom says she needs to listen so she knows when to run for her life. I run when other people are running. I can hear loud noises. Raised voices, I'll hear through the headphones. Actually, let's talk about this. Yes, I have personalized earbuds. But these earbuds, they're Apple Pro, Earbud Pro, something Max. I don't know what they are. They're the advanced ones. These are, take these out of the case so you can see. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is not a plug for them, but so these are the regular ones, and these are the little advanced ones. These advanced ones, let me show you. They have, this is going to sound real basic to some of y'all, but no matter what you think, I am a Gen Xer, so leave me and my slow technology alone. So on these, there's a setting where it has noise cancellation. Oh, wait, what is that? Woo, get off my phone, peoples. Focus. Do not disturb. There's noise cancellation, transparency, and off. So I can if I put on noise cancellation, it cuts out all the background noise. I just hear what's playing. If I turn it off, it's like a medium. I hear something that's in the beginning. I hear something that is, but I don't hear all the stuff. I found transparency the other day. This is where some of y'all are gonna be like, of course, we always knew this. I didn't know this. I found transparency the other day, and transparency for me, pretty much, what you're listening to is still playing in the background, but it, I feel like it amplifies the background noise. I can hear, and maybe because I don't listen to other people's conversations, when I put it on transparency, I could hear everybody's conversation. So I can have these in to indicate I don't want to talk to you. I'm in my zone, right? But still hear everything happening around. Like I couldn't even really hear what I was listening to as much as I could hear everything happening around me. And it was a whole new world because I've had them on noise cancellation since I got them. I moved them to the other thing, and I was like, yes, Amina, I've had them on the noise cancellation. I hear nothing outside, but moving them over to the little transparency, putting them on the little boppity boop there, putting them there on transparency, where you can hear every single thing. Like I feel like it amplifies the outside noise. I was like, oh, I was walking home on a dark trail late at night one day, and I was like, oh, I can hear. If someone comes up on me, I can hear them from a mile away. I said, okay. These AirPods, these the ones. These the ones. Listen, I hadn't known it before, but putting on that transparency on them, I could hear I heard Jesus breathe. I did. I tell y'all, I did. I heard it. Right here. Woo! If you're wondering if these are worth the investment, Apple AirPod Pro Max, whatever, I think they are. I was going to buy a pair for my mama, but she's watching this now, so I can't buy her a pair. I see you, Aisha. I ignore you, Aisha. All right. But yeah, those were nice. Those were nice. All right, where do we get back to? This was about language, but truly, like, I have a noise cancellation on all the time, but that time on the dark walk home, I was like, what are my other options? It also started to rain. It started to rain on the dark walk home. Because it's rainy season. Dark walk home, perfectly safe. I think because it was raining, it was even better because everybody was like, it's time to mind our business. We're normally a business minding people, but in the rain, it is super, super time for us to mind our business because we were all trying to beat it for a while. We're all huffing and puffing and trying to beat the rain. We ain't beat the rain. All right, next on list number 6. What are the visa requirements / residency requirements? How long can you stay in a country legally? And what amount of work is it going to take to stay there longer than like a tourist visa? Do you want to stay longer in a tourist visa? Are you willing to do the work? I have found that people frequently aren't doing the research, for what it takes to stay in a country. They just show up and they're like, I'm here. Which, because I see a lot of Americans and Canadians making comments and content, I know is like, sometimes it's like, oh, this is a North American. Like, I don't know this person. This is a North American. Look at this. And like north of Mexico, North American. Because what is this nonsense? It's a lot of living in Mexico, I see a lot of people complaining about the requirements to stay in Mexico. And I'm like, most countries don't let you come for up to 180 days on a tourist visa. This country does, and it's still not enough, right? You don't have to do any paperwork. Well, past the FMM, though, whatever. You don't have to do anything. You just show up. Mexicans can't just show up in America. They can't just show up in America. What? Why do you think you should be able to show up and stay as long as you want to? And that there's no problem with that? And people are like, just overstay your visa. Like someone got an 18-day visa the other day. Just overstay it. All you have to do is pay a fee if you overstay. Or go to jail. You know who doesn't want to go to immigration jail? Me. You know who I don't want to go to immigration jail? Any of y'all watching this right now. Don't overstay your tourist visa. Figure out what it's going to take to stay longer and if you can meet those requirements. If you can't meet those requirements, choose another country. There's too many countries in the world, right? To be trying to Girl, immigration jail here sounds terrible. Terrible. I don't want it. But some people think nothing bad will ever happen to them and they live that life. And maybe they're right. Maybe they're right that nothing bad will ever happen to them. But me living in my body, I can't assume that. I can't assume that nothing bad will ever happen to me if I'm out here ignoring the rules. So what are the visa requirements? What are the residency requirements? What do you have to do to stay in the country as long as you want? How long do you want to stay? How long are you allowed to stay now? Donna Marie says, planning and research is our middle name. Cannot imagine traveling clueless. These people out here traveling absolutely clueless. Absolutely clueless. And there's nothing. It's not fair that we can't stay as long as we want. Okay. All right. Cool. Remember how I said I didn't need my glasses? I don't. What I need is better penmanship. Okay. Next on my list, number 7 is working local versus working remotely. What do you need from a job? What are the requirements to do it the way you want to do it? And what are the responsibilities of doing it that way? All the time I see people who come here who want to get a local job, which I've in 1,000 videos have told you why it's not a good idea. Between the wages being paid and the hours being worked, it's not a good idea to come into a country where people are paid less than your home country and look for a job, because you're taking a job away from someone who's local and who probably needs it more than you do and doesn't have access to other jobs, like the jobs you'd have access to in America. But also those same people who want local jobs I never hear a conversation about them paying local taxes. Like, this is different. If like you have come in on a work visa, like a school brings you here or a company brings you here, I think those are conversations that are being had. But the people who are like, hey, do you know how I can find a job in this country or that country? Never ask, okay, but if you're working in these countries, what are like, tell me something about the taxes. I never hear, tell me something about the taxes. Y'all paying taxes? How y'all working this out? I never hear that. I hear I want a job in this country. I never hear anything about the taxes and other requirements, like work permits. You've got to figure out what you need before you pack your bags. Oh, wait, no, I was trying to get this one about being anywhere without the right papers. The in-between time. Also, getting deported from one country as a traveler is one of the worst things that could happen. Them sending you back to America means you got deported. And anytime you have to apply for a visa to enter a country again, a lot of countries you don't have to apply, especially as an American. You don't have to apply to a visa for a visa to get in. If you're not American, if you have a passport for one of them countries in Africa, maybe one of them Caribbean islands. If the majority of the people in your country are black or brown, pay heed to this. Anytime you have to apply for a visa, they ask you if you've ever been deported from another country. If you think you say yes, they're gonna be like, come on in. You got deported from Panama? Sure. Right? Come to Antigua, right? Like, sure, come on. If someone has the right to tell you no, you can't come to our country, and they see that another country already deported you, especially for overstaying, the chances of you getting in are shrinking. So yes, the worst that can happen is they send you back to America, but that's pretty bad. The worst that can happen is immigration jail for an undetermined amount of time. And then they send you back to America. Now you've got to tell people you got deported. And what happens the next time you try to come back to the country that you got deported from? Whee. All right. I don't know whether this is factually true, fourth deconstruction, but I'm going to tell you that the people who are looking for jobs in Facebook groups are not looking for mid to upper management jobs. I don't know what you're looking at, but they're looking for under the table pay and work. We're not talking about people, because people who have mid to upper management jobs are typically not reaching out to their network, or not their network, a random group of people in a Facebook group. That's not how those jobs are being hired for. All right. We already covered number 8. Actually, let's go back to number 7 again. Working local or remote. If you're working remotely, what infrastructure do you need? Do you need really good Wi-Fi? What do you need? Do you need silence during certain hours? Do you need co-working spaces? Do you need your neighbor's dog to stop barking? Like, what is it that you need, and how do you get it, right? Like, you got to think about that ahead of time, because if you need absolute silence to do your job, a lot of countries aren't going to fit the bill. A lot just aren't. Okay. Next on the list, we already covered local customs and infrastructure. So let's talk about moving your stuff. Decluttering and storage. Okay, so June is decluttering month in Exodus Summit. June, I'm going to say June or July, because it is June 17th, and we haven't done the decluttering work we said we were going to do. But tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in the city of New York, we're going to go live in Exodus Summit, and we're going to talk about decluttering. And then later this week, maybe Tuesday, I'm releasing the vlog of me cleaning out my storage unit with Adelia. It's going to be a good one, y'all. It's going to be a good one. So far, editing this is my favorite vlog so far. You'll see why. Anyhow, because storage is trash. I don't even know how to say it any clearer than that. Storage is trash. It is. Like, what? Storage is trash. Absolutely. We don't need it. Moving your stuff to another country. Why? You need that stuff? Do you need that stuff? Why do you need that stuff? Moving, there are things where, like, yes, I need to bring certain things, but most of the things you need to bring aren't actually worth it. I'm gonna tell you, nobody hates like Cat. Nobody. She's a special breed. My storage clean out is not a 2-part series. It is 1 part. I'm getting it done. Y'all just gonna have to watch. Oh, wait. Just have to watch. We don't show that much of decluttering because there was emotions. We show what we did with stuff. Getting rid of your stuff is really one of the most important parts of moving. Auntie Lou says using this move abroad to become a semi-minimalist, getting rid of everything. I was a maximalist. I'm still a maximalist, but I'm creeping more towards a reasonable human being. I'm creeping more towards, this don't make no damn sense. Let's chill on all this stuff because you don't need it. The storage video will show you what. All the time I hear people saying, should I move my car? I want to pack a trailer truck full of stuff and move it down, or I want to ship my stuff across the country to Senegal, across the ocean to Senegal. And it's like, do you? Because there's lots of stuff that can happen. Like, I had 2 things in customs, and they cost me 2 pieces of art. I want to say it cost me like $300 or $400 in customs fees between the time they were in storage, because I didn't know they'd reached the country already, and the time they were delivered, and the fee, like $400 in customs, just for 2 things, 2 pieces of art. You moving your whole life? And that doesn't include the shipping fee. That does not include the shipping fees. You like the necklace? It was in my storage unit, which I cleaned out in February, and I've worn this necklace. This is the 2nd time I'm wearing it. So did I need it? I didn't need it. If it's June and I've worn my necklace twice since I got it in February, I didn't need it. But I have it. Yeah, so consider the costs that go with moving your stuff and the cost of getting it replaced and all the things that can go wrong along the way. Moving is going to cost more than it thinks. Customs are going to cost more than it thinks. And things might disappear. One of our Exodus Summit family members, moved her stuff had stuff shipped from the US to Mexico. And somewhere along the way, we don't know if it was the shippers in the US or the shippers in Mexico or customs in the US or customs in Mexico, but all her jewelry was gone. Don't know where it happened. Right? And so someone's going to blame the victim and be like, oh, she should have had her jewelry on her. Maybe. But if you don't think you have something someone's going to walk away with when you ship your stuff, you don't understand what's happening here. Right? Like, she couldn't have all her things on her. And there was a good chance something was going to disappear. Right? Because if people are stealing, they're stealing. They're going to find, right? Is Denzel looking at Jamie Foxx on the couch and saying, I'm leaving here with something, right? They leave it here. If they are opening things to look for things to steal, they are going to steal something. So if it wasn't her jewelry, it would have been something else. Whoever that thief was going to take something. They came to steal. They came to work that day to steal. They was going to steal something, right? And since you can't move all your stuff with you, someone is going to steal something. I shouldn't put this on the screen right now because Adelia is a hater about stuff. And you'll see it in the video. There's a part in the video that I had to laugh at because she said something to me and I was like, please stop. Like, this part isn't on camera. She started a sentence, a thought, and I was like, I really need you to go to the other room and like record that on camera. Record that thought on camera, but don't say it to me right now. When I tell you we were both collectively losing our stuff. We were losing it. Gone. 2 weeks of clearing up the storage unit, gone, losing it. I literally was like, I knew when she was saying it, it was going to be logical and make sense. But like, I need you not to say it to me right now. I need you to take that, do a confessional in the next room. Here you go. Please don't tell me this thing that's burning in your mind to get out. You need to say this to someone. It doesn't have to be me. Say it to someone else. Say it to the camera, please. She a hater. She is chill, but child, she was not always chill in the bear. But Roxanne, when you see the video, you will see Adelia being very unchill in some moments. Hilarious for her, hilariously unchill. And not like at me, but like at the situation. At the situation. She hit her edge. I hit my edge. She hit her edge. It was never at the same time. Edges were hit. It was a moment. So yes, you have to figure out what you need and how to get that as small as possible. As small as possible. Oh yeah, Celeste, there's talking head footage. There is that. Because almost every day, Adelia would be like, with the camera, how do you feel about where we are in this process? I feel like crying. What are we talking about? And when we open the door to the storage unit, her face gives it away. Her face gives it away. And she's like, I'm not judging you, but her face is Adelia judgment. It's all pure Adelia judgment. And she's like, I'm not judging. Right? I'm just like, you're not saying judgmental things, but your face is giving it away. All right. Margie Prillman says, I'm in the process of cleaning up my storage unit. 75% of the items in there we either can't wear or no longer have a need for anymore. I agree, definitely trash and wasted money. Yes. Give it away. Give it away. Give it all away. It's not your new life. It's your old life. Give it away. Moving your stuff to another country is expensive. There's going to be some loss, even if it's not theft but breakage. Something's going to happen. You probably don't need to do it. You don't need the car. I don't know that any other country in the world is as car-centric as the US is. And as people raised in America, we tend to have the view that a lot of the US is, a lot of the world's like the US. So we're expecting certain things, right? So we think the rest of the world is very car-centric when no. Other places are, but they also have rails, they have trains, they have buses that are not trash, right? They've built, most of the world has built infrastructure, but doesn't rely on each individual owning a car or having, for every adult in the world, in the country, owning a car. Which is one of the ways that, like, being American kind of warp the way you expect to interact in the world. The other thing, let's talk about this. You don't need to go abroad and buy property. You don't. This isn't on the list, but it is one of the ways where I see Americans get caught up all the time. You don't need to go abroad and buy property. Yes. In America, we're told over and over again that, like, buying property makes you the king. You're the little monopoly man. You won everything. You get to pass go. You get all the money. Great, right? Like, owning property is the way to build wealth in America. We've been told since we were in the womb, right? But going to another country and buying property, I always want to know, like, what is the purpose behind doing that? Besides, this is my understanding of how people buy wealth. Because the way people build wealth on real estate in the US, not all the times, a lot of times it's predatory. A lot of times it's just really predatory, right? It's like, I'm going to buy this commercial property. Like, a lot of it is like getting people to pay more than it's worth. That's how the wealth is built, right? I'm going to get someone to pay me. I own this. I'm going to get someone to pay me more than it's worth to use this. And it wouldn't be so bad if everybody had a home, right? Like, if homelessness wasn't a huge problem in the US, then, like, the landlords wouldn't seem so predatory. But they do. Because we got people living in the streets and all these empty apartments because the rents are so high. And so, if that's how we may not think about it that way, but if at our core, we can kind of see how making money through real estate is frequently predatory, why would you want to go to another country and do that? Like, I understand if it's like, I want to buy a place I live in, although I'm not interested in that. D, I almost said it, girl, but I didn't. Okay, D says the same thing. She's in Guadalajara. It's the same thing in Mexico City. It's the same thing in San Miguel. Buying property is easy. Selling it is hard, because what happens is a lot of people don't understand they expect the real estate market where they're going to operate like the real estate market in the US. And it doesn't. In Mexico, a lot of very, 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 very wealthy people park their money in real estate. They don't put it in the bank. They park their money in real estate. And so they don't need their property to sell for like 60, 80 years because they're just going to pass it down to the family, right? It's not a property they care about. It's just a property that where they put their money. They had money, they bought something, right? I don't know if my person who owns this property is still trying to sell it, but in the probably 2 years that it was on the market, less than 5 people came to see it. Less than 5. I think 3, maybe 4 people came to see it in what I think is 2 years. And it's not sold. I'm still paying rent to the same lady. So some people out here try to do transactions without understanding how the transaction is really working. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. Renting for life. Sign me up as a renter for the rest of my life. After owning property, sign me up as a renter for the rest of my life. Especially in this country. My apartment is beautiful in a beautiful building. And it's years on the market. Most of us are used to being like, we want this to sell. If we put it at a reasonable price, it will sell in at least a couple months. No more than a couple months, right? If the market's really bad, maybe a year. Years on the market is very normal here. Very normal. You can buy property, but can you sell it? Right? Like, do you know enough about the local customs to make a large investment like that? Are you buying it because you want to live in it and you want to own the place you live? Although I don't know why that matters, but it does to some of y'all. Or are you buying it because you feel like it's your turn to be a predator? I'm going to make money off of local people. I want y'all to do better than that when you move abroad. All right, the idea should not be how to take money out of the local economy and put that in your pocket. And as a landlord, that's what you're doing. Even if you're renting to foreigners, you're still taking money out of the local economy. Because that is money that could have gone to a local landlord. Make sure when I rented my apartment, I made sure my landlord was local. I'm not paying a foreigner to live in Mexico. Absolutely not. I won't be doing it. If she's not Mexican, I'm not. I asked the rental agent, like, is the owner, every place we went, is the owner Mexican? So I know whether to cross off a list or not. I am not paying a foreigner to live in another country. Y'all can make whatever choices you want. I can't do it, right? So all right. Last on the list, number 10, missing people, things, stuff from home. You have to know what you're going to do when you start missing stuff. So first I had this out as like homesickness, but like I don't think a lot of us are going to get homesick. Like there's not a lot about the US to miss. It's most likely you're going to miss people. I've said this before on a video. I know some of y'all think I'm crazy, but every once in a while I'm like, I would like a Chipotle burrito. Yes, I live in Mexico. And yes, I said what I said. It's not the same. It's not the same. I can go downstairs right now and buy lamb tacos. I don't want lamb tacos. Every once in a while, I just want a little treat of Chipotle burrito bowl. Now, I know there's a chance it might kill me. That doesn't stop my brain saying, those were delicious back in the day. And don't get a margarita from there, too. Stephanie said Wendy's and Wawa. Yes. Do you miss a few people? Yes, you're probably going to start missing people, and people can come see you, but there's a difference between people seeing you and then seeing the people you love every day. right? There's a difference there. And so you can establish new friendships. I have new relationships, but not seeing the people that I've loved my whole life is different, right? And so figuring out what you need and how to get your fill, right? Some people don't want to go back to the US once they move, but like not everyone's gonna be able to come see you. And they can't bring you Wawas when they come. If you're coming to Mexico City, I have a list of things I need. I will ship it to your house, FYI, right? Someone's doing that for me soon. But like, one of them is not going to be a burrito bowl from Chipotle. I'm just not going to get it. So yes, except that there are things you're going to miss, you're not going to have around you, and you're going to have to deal with that. Sometimes there are substitutes. There's no substitute for Target anywhere in the globe. I looked. There's not a single substitute for Target. I don't know what they're doing. There's not a single substitute for Target. It's rude. I want them to build a Target down the street from me, but they won't. They got into Canada a couple years ago, and they got out like a couple years after, or maybe less. It didn't hit. It didn't hit in Canada the way it does in the US. But I want Target. I miss Target. Every time I go to the US, I will just walk around. We went to Target in February. We went to the US in February to clean up my storage unit. So there was a part of the video where like, I'm just walking around Target. Now I can't buy anything because I was coming down with bags and bags and bags of things for my storage unit. But like just walking around Target is a vibe. Show me your rainbow stuff, baby. Let me pick something out real quick. And it's February, so they had all their Black History Month collections. And I couldn't get nothing. Nothing, I tell you. Because I had a storage unit full of stuff. Y'all be out here saying crazy shit. Just crazy. Just don't make no sense. And I don't understand why you do it. I bet Target don't like you either, Tracy. So now what? Now what? But yes, figure out what you're going to miss. You'll figure it out. I would never have said, I'm going to miss Chipotle. Sounds crazy. I would have never said, I'm going to miss Target. We have an IKEA here. I think it's the only one in the country right now. So I don't miss IKEA. I don't miss US IKEA. I miss US IKEA prices because they charge like 40% more here for the same product. The price is stupid. Like they're charging like you're buying furniture at like Macy's for IKEA stuff. No. Trader Joe's. I also go to Trader Joe's every time I go back. Yes, I do. I found Whole Foods in London. I had no idea. Y'all didn't tell me. I found Whole Foods in London. Now, they didn't have my ice cream that I love, Jenny's ice cream. They didn't have it. But I walked in Whole Foods like, okay. And some of the stuff, mom was looking for something, and it's cheaper. It was cheaper there than in the US Whole Foods. Okay, London. I was walking over to you. I said, did I say Whole Foods? Now, I saw a bunch of them at Amazon. You got to scan your way in with thing and do the thing. Amazon, no humans work here stores. Saw a couple of those, but I didn't go in. But yeah, I saw some Whole Foods. And I was like, Uji, grocery store me, please. Okay. No. I don't know how. Like, some sociologist has the answer of why the US has gotten so nasty lately. Right? Somebody knows. And I don't really care about the why. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. Y'all just mean for no reason. And expensive. It's mean, inconvenient a lot of the times, and expensive. So I have to have a car, but there's nowhere to park. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like, even when we were there and I took BART into San Francisco, getting to the BART station itself required a car. Make it make sense. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't like it. Don't want it. Would like a refund. You're working all week and can't afford milk. Who lives like this? Why? Why? In this world leader. Charge an arm and a leg to park. Just get her to work at University of Denver remotely. None of her colleagues lived in Denver, too expensive, nowhere to park, etc. These cities are going, everybody going to be in Montana soon because we're running out of room. I don't get it. I don't want it. Not at all. All right, Elle, what haven't we talked about? What is something that I haven't mentioned that people should consider before they move abroad? Drop it in the comments. Something that I haven't mentioned that people should consider before they move abroad. As someone who worked in auto, yes, auto and energy. Who has the strongest lobbyists? So both companies I worked for, auto related, and both of them, when there was a law they didn't like, they were like, I worked on the finance side. So whenever there's a law they didn't like, people on the car side or like the non-finance, people from the non-finance side were always like, just change the law. And I was like, I don't. Auto may be able to come in and change auto-related laws. Uber started in a space that was unregulated, so they can come in and make whole laws. But finance? We can't just, they'd be like, Roshida, just go change the law. Just go change the law, the federal and the state law? Just go change, like, it. Sometimes it still like blows my mind how some industries are just like that. Like they were like, just go change the law. Just go talk to our lobbyists and change the law. And I'd be like, you have a lobbyist? You know he's not gonna get nothing done in finance, right? Like also because like maybe Wells Fargo, maybe Bank of America, maybe Chase can get some play in finance, but them senators gonna be listening real hard. the the representative is going to be like, you want to do what? Right? They may not disagree, but they're going to pay attention. Auto finance companies that aren't part of a big bank? Baby. We ain't changing nothing. We ain't changing. And I am not. Just go change the law. Just. Yeah, so like auto still surprises me to this day where I'm like, y'all really just do whatever y'all want. It's fascinating. Fascinating. Okay. Ooh. Kat said language learning, which we talked about earlier, and language barriers, and getting older in another country. That's important. I don't really have much to say about it now, but it's something you should consider. Now, a lot of countries outside of the US respect their elders in a way that you won't see in the US. And a lot of them have great health care that you may not be able to access in the US, right? Without like a 6-month waiting list. And so I don't necessarily think that getting older in another country is going to be worse for you than getting older in America. It may just be different. There may be gaps you need to figure out how to fill. Something to consider. Goshan says financial infrastructure, ATM accessibility versus walking around with cash can be good or bad. I live in Mexico. I almost never have cash on me. Almost never. Here's what I do with cash. My cleaning lady does not have a bank account, as far as I can tell. So I couldn't even transfer money to her if I wanted to. I have to give her cash. Which means I leave. Whenever I think about it, I just leave cash on my counter. And when she comes, she takes the cash for the week she's here. And leaves the rest of the cash. It's how we roll. But other than that, I hardly ever use cash. I use cash for like buses, but it's like change. Like 50 cents-ish. Right? But actual cash, I hardly ever need it. But for some countries, you're going to need a lot more of it. You're going to need cash all the time. Where did I go recently where I needed cash? When I went to London, I hardly used cash at all. Same thing in Portugal. In Morocco, needed cash for everything. Everything. You want to use the bathroom, cash. You want to walk down the street, cash. You want to stick your head inside a store, cash. I released the second half of the Morocco vlog last week, and it was my Marrakesh vlog. I was so glad to leave. I left and went to Casablanca, and I'll tell you about my Casablanca experience another week, but all of Morocco was just cash heavy. So yes, so something to consider are the love, dating, marriage prospects for Black women. Which the problem with saying that's something to consider is that it's going to depend on you. Okay, if you're open to dating local men wherever you go, how much you date is going to depend really on how much you want to date. Right? Like I could date a lot if I wanted to date a lot, but I don't like people like that. Get out of my space. Like I think I need to fall in love on an app before I actually go on my first date because I'm looking at these profiles like, sir, no. It's sir, no, over and over and over again. It's not working. I need to figure something out. So yeah, so it's hard to kind of talk about what prospects are country to country or how to consider that before you get there. But that is something I would look at if I was doing a scouting trip. Right? Stephanie said this yesterday. Men are everywhere. Men are available everywhere. It's truly your choice everywhere you go. The choices may look different, right? The choices may look different. They may feel different. But like Stephanie yesterday was talking about how she's a tall woman, so she has less options in Mexico that she feels comfortable with because a lot of men are shorter than her. I recorded something this morning about my time in Senegal, and one of the issues was that a number of men seemed to imply that what they wanted was money in exchange for sex. I don't even want to have sex with you, stranger man. So why are you telling me things that allude to the fact that you need to be paid? Like, maybe, can we get coffee? Can we get a drink? But why are you expect money in exchange for companion? Excuse me. Sorry. No. So yeah, so like different cities will give you different vibes. I would say that's something you should check out on a scouting trip. Because Senegal had me like, get away from me, whore. Get away from me, whore. And that is not to say anything bad about sex workers, because there's value in that work. But I ain't want it. Get away from me. You want a dating app trying to sell your little bitty dick. Get away from me. This is not that. You. The strength of a dollar, depending on destination, something to consider. I was in London like, where is the money going? It's expensive, but also, where is the money? The dollars aren't dollaring. They're not. Mm-mm. Contingency plans for emergencies with a language barrier when living solo. What do you do? Like, I know what hospital I would go to if I get hurt. I know where it is. And I know I can tell someone to take me there if I can talk. I also live alone. Like, if I had an emergency here, I need to like get to my front door, open the door, and start screaming. I told you, if I'm in the hallway, everybody's gonna hear me. But like, what happens if, right? I don't know. Do you use your American debit card? Yep. Works just fine everywhere. Then financial sectors know how to set it up where they can get your money from you anywhere. Senior care will bankrupt you in the US from Sarah. Yes, it will. All right. Oh, one of the things we didn't talk about was what to do when your first country doesn't work out. Go to another country. Go to another city in that country. Explore some more. The world is too big, right? I feel like if you want to move out of your home country and explore the world, don't let one wrong choice get in your way. Make some more choices. Make some more bad choices. Make some more terrible choices. But make some more choices so you have something to compare it to, right? Like, not every country, not every city is going to work out. Some places you're going to be like, oh, I tried that and I did not like that, right? Allow yourself to experience that before you decide on something else. Because going back home is always an option, and there should be no shame around that. But why, right? Like, why do that if you haven't, if there are places that you might be interested in that you haven't checked out yet? Why not just go do that? Check them out. Do some more stuff. Live your life. Life is like, the world is waiting for you. I think that's one thing that like we don't talk about enough. that like there's nothing in this world that is off limits. There's nowhere that's off limits, right? Maybe North Korea, right? Like I wouldn't probably go to Saudi Arabia or Iran right now. Like, personal preferences. But most of the world is waiting for you. Most of the world is like, hey, new girl, what you doing? Right? They're singing the New Girl theme song and they're dancing, holding that little mirror frame, doing a jig. They're waiting for you. Most places you're going to be very, very welcomed. Most. Now, you may not like the way they welcome. You may not like the way it feels. You may not like the weather. You may say this wasn't the right choice for me. There are other better choices, right? Unless your idea of moving abroad is taking your exact same situation at home and picking it up and moving it somewhere else. Usually people want to do this for lower cost of living or better weather. The people who move abroad and are like, if things aren't exactly the way they are at home, I'm not going to like it. And that's not ideal, right? That's not what we want for you. So do something different, right? Try a different city. Get accustomed to things not feeling like they did at home, things being different and not putting a value judgment on them about whether that's better or worse. It's just different. It's just different. It's not better. It's not worse. It's just different. Get accustomed to things just being different. Right? Things are different. And let yourself explore the world at your speed. Not too fast, though. I'm telling y'all, not too fast. Explore the world at your speed. All right. It's really important to start the mindset work before you leave the USA. Yes. I used to feel like this. I'm feeling less jackpotty these days. It could be the dollar or the peso, right? It could be the peso. But I'm feeling less jackpotty. Like I really still love it. I think some of the shine is wearing off. I don't know. Love Liaison 65. All my friends are married and settled. I'll be on my own. I worry about not finding community as a loner. You will not be the only person who is not married. I would say that most of the people I see abroad are not married. Because here's the thing. To move abroad, 2 people, and you're married, 2 people have to agree to make that move. When you're solo, only 1 person has to agree to make the move. And so I think I see more solo people abroad than I see married people abroad. Now that could be that I'm not paying all that much attention to married people because I don't know that life and it got nothing to do with me. But I think that's not something, depending on where you go, of course, you don't have to worry about that. I think get in communities, get in Facebook groups, see who's in the Facebook group, see who's single, see, you know what I mean? You'll see that most people are not. I went to San Miguel this week. We did a meetup. I need to share some photos from that. We did a meetup in San Miguel. And I think at some point the table was over 10 women and 1, 2, maybe 2 women. There were 3. Out of the 10 women, maybe 3 had a partner. I'm gonna tell you this. If I've never met your partner, they don't exist. If I've never met them, I'm not considering them. So if someone's hiding their husband from me, why would I? He doesn't exist. What? That man is make-believe until I meet him. He is make-believe. So you don't tell your make-believe husband I said hi. Yeah. I think you'll find a lot of other single people wherever you go. All right, y'all. I think we covered it. That is my time. I want to go lie down. I don't feel good. I'm supposed to be going to a Juneteenth event later on today. My tummy hurts. Okay, so this week, I got a vlog. So tomorrow, if you're not already in Exodus Summit, why not? I'm sure I have this banner somewhere. Oh, do I not have this banner somewhere? I don't. I'm not doing good on my own job. But you know, www.exodussummit.com/community. Join us inside of Exodus Summit because tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., we're talking about decluttering, the whys, the hows, the whats, the whens. This is coming to you from people who have moved abroad, a maximalist who has moved abroad, and Stephanie isn't a minimalist. What am I going to say Stephanie is? She's not a maximalist either, though. She's somewhere in the middle who has bopped around for years. So she knows about living out of a suitcase. She's going to talk to you. We're going to talk to you about our different perspectives on it tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m., whatever time it is in Mexico. I don't know what time zone we're in anymore. Technically, we're central, but like we're not doing daylight savings time anymore. So it's really like aligns with mountain time in the U.S. It's just a mess. So I'm just going by U.S. time zones from now on. So this is her not being a maximalist or a minimalist. She's the right kind. When I tell you Stephanie's a handful, y'all don't know. She's a handful. Maybe you do know. My hands are full. Often in the best ways possible. The best ways possible. My hands are full. But she's a handful. The right kind. All right, y'all. Until next week. Oh, until tomorrow, if you're in Exodus Summit for our live. And then Tuesday, no matter what, y'all getting the storage vlog on Tuesday. No matter what, it's coming. Be prepared. Set aside a little bit of time to watch me almost cry and watch Adelia almost leave and abandon me. By D. I found out D's real name this week, and I told her I was going to say it on the live, and I haven't said it. I don't think I will say it on accident. I think I'd have to actually think about it to say it. I'm not going to bust her out the spot now yet. Although I told her I would. It's a very beautiful name. Anyway, enough about that. Y'all can't tell me nothing, because if I know it, it might come out. But you should tell me everything, because I want to know everything. All right, y'all. Happy Juneteenth. See y'all tomorrow. I hope you get the day off from work. If not, I hope you take the day off from work. And I will see y'all on the other side. Bye. Oh, happy Father's Day. I forgot about that. For any fathers watching. Post photos of your cute daddies. Thanks, all of you. Post them somewhere on the internet for the rest of us just to look at. Your cute sons, if they're fathers too. Your cute partners. We're not gonna do nothing. We're just gonna look. All right now. Bye.